Sugar. It leads to things like obesity, diabetes, heart disease. But did you know that sugar that you are consuming can also be responsible for cognitive issues like being lethargic, forgetful, even for some people leading to ADHD and PTSD? Today we're going to talk about the impact of sugar on the brain as well as the body. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Muscle Repair Shop. My name is Butch Phelps, and today I want to talk about one of the 4 deadly white powders, sugar. Dr. Mark Hyman on the Doctor's Pharmacy podcast calls the 4 most dangerous white powders in America to be flour, sugar, salt, and cocaine. And in fact, he has said that sugar is actually more difficult to get off of for most people than cocaine. That's phenomenal. When you think about how can I lose weight, how can I get healthier, and yet most of our foods are just laced with sugar components. Always when you read a label and you see something with the last 3 letters of OSE, whether it's lactose, dextrose, sucrose, high fructose corn syrup, all of that is sugar. And that sugar leads to inflammation in your body and your brain. Now, you've heard people talk about having the sugar crash, and the joke has been you go to a business at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and most of the employees are just sort of lounging around or moving very slowly because they're at a sugar crash. And what happens is that the brain is fueling itself off of the sugar, and then once the sugar is consumed, the energy level in your body drops. That's a natural, normal thing that happens. And what we want to do is convert our body to a point to where we start to burn the fat on our body versus the sugar itself. Now, for most people, they assume that if they reduce their calories that they will lose weight. And in most cases, that is rarely true. It does happen for some, but not for most. And the reason for that, if you continue to eat foods like white rices and pastas and breads, no matter what they tell you about being low calorie, the body will convert that into glucose, which will again alert the brain to use the glucose for energy versus the fat on your body. By doing that, what happens, you still have the crashes, you still have the low energy, and you're not really losing the weight the way you would hope for. That low energy then makes it very frustrating, and eventually you just give up. And that's one of the key reasons most people do not succeed with their diet. But the more important factor on that is that that same food is affecting the brain through inflammation. That same food is slowing down your cognitive abilities. Again, it's zapping your energy. It may make you feel very tired and then therefore forgetful at the same time. And in some extreme cases, the foods that they're eating literally contribute to their ADHD, their PTSD, and in some cases even autism. The thing we want to be sure of is that when we eat food, we eat good, healthy food. Now, I listen to people say to me all the time, but I travel. How can I eat good, fresh food when I'm going to restaurants and traveling? And we're going to talk about that as well. So let's start off first, what really constitutes a good diet? Now, for me, in 1997, I lost 105 pounds, and again in 2020, I lost 30 more pounds for a total of 135 pounds in my lifetime. So, in my life, I can share with you some of the things that I did that I'm sure will work for you to some level. You may have to tweak things here or there, but I can give you actual demonstrations or actual ideas of what to do in those situations when you're out at restaurants or you're at a friend's house for dinner. So to begin with, one of the things that I shifted when I weighed 315 pounds was to go from eating mostly grains and meat to mostly plant-based foods and clean meat. Now, what do I mean by that? Plant-based foods are fresh, actual vegetables. Now, they can be frozen as well, and many of those have the same type of nutrients in it that the fresh will have. But fresh is always the best, because the fresher it is, the more nutrients that vegetable has. For many people, understanding vegetables is a very difficult thing because it's not something that they eat in their life a lot. But the vegetables, as well as the fruit, give fiber to the body, which helps in the digestion of your food and helps your whole digestive system. So even with fruit, now I know fruit is on a high glycemic level, but even with fruit, that fiber reduces the amount of sugar your body absorbs into the bloodstream. So that's important. Most people today eat a fiberless diet, which can be detrimental to their health. When you're looking at meats, think about whatever the animal ate, just like whatever you ate. If the animal is eating a lot of grain, in other words, they're grain-fed, grain-finished at a farm someplace, then the omega-6s in that grain then can be harmful to your body just as well. So the preferable meat that I always choose has always been a grass-fed, grass-finished beef or a pasture-raised chicken, so to speak. That way I'm getting the nutrients out of my meat, or as much as I can possibly get from that. Now, when I'm losing weight, I will up my plant-based diet to about 70-75%. The 20% will go to good clean meats, and the remaining 5% will be around for grains. Grains are not totally horrible, but they can't be the base of your diet. Now, you'll hear some people talk about a no-carb diet. If they're eating salads, that's not completely true. Carbs are broken up into two areas. You've got simple carbs, which are like breads and pastas and cereals and things of that nature with grains. And then you have complex carbs, which are more like the fruits and the vegetables. The complex carbs are far better for your body because of the fiber and because of the nutrients that are in the complex carbs versus the simple carbs. You can still have them, they just can't be the bulk of your diet. That shift for me allowed me to lose weight much easier than I'd ever had before. When I'm maintaining my weight, I will up my grains to about 10% of my diet, maybe 15%, depending on what I'm looking for, and decrease my plant-based foods down to about 60-65%. But the idea in both scenarios is the majority of my diet are plant-based foods. Now, some of you may say, but I don't really like vegetables. I get it, but it is something that we definitely need to have in our diet because our bodies and our systems need the nutrients from those foods. Now, for those of you who travel, traveling can present a problem as well as going to a friend's house to eat. Because if the friend is not into plants, chances are there's not going to be plant-based foods on the menu. What I usually try to look at in my life is that if 95% of the time I'm eating a good healthy diet on my own, every once in a while when I go to a friend's house and they don't have any vegetables, I can afford to eat a meal that doesn't have a lot of vegetables. I may do. If I go to a restaurant, now I know in a lot of restaurants that I go to that I can at least order a salad, and I'll eat my salad first because that gives me the fiber first in my diet before I eat other foods, but I'm very conscious of what I order on the plate. Now, while it's not always the healthiest of foods, there are many restaurants that you can get some type of vegetable on that plate. If you have a choice between a sweet potato and a white potato, take the sweet potato. And you don't have to get the biggest piece of meat. Get a smaller piece of meat. But be conscious of the bread bowls that they put in front of you. Be conscious of the pasta bowls that they put in front of you. Because those things can be bad for you if eaten on a continual basis. Now, I'm not saying that you can never eat pasta, you can never eat bread, because I do. What I'm saying to you is it's not an everyday thing. That's the whole key to it. It's not an everyday thing. And be careful of the things that you drink. Sodas, juices, alcohol. Those things contribute to sugar that, yes, goes to the brain, not only intoxicates you with the alcohol, but sets off inflammation in the brain as well. So keeping those things in mind, you can then reduce the inflammation in your brain, which helps you think clearer, gives you more energy. Reduce the inflammation in your body, which again makes your body move with needing less energy, so you have a lot more energy stored up for your day. And at the end of the day, you're going to find yourself feeling much better. Your skin will appear much better. And your health overall will be much better. So if you like what you hear, please subscribe down below, ring the bell, share this with your friends. And for now, see ya.